Welcome to the MF Show, your pit stop for celebrity interviews. I'm Rich Waitas.
And I'm Jerry Zaiden. We're going to talk about hot car topics and everywhere the automotive industry takes us.
Today, we've got a guest that's new to the ambassadorship, but longtime friend of the brand. She's been on TV. You might have seen her there. She's been out building amazing cars. And if you've been to SEMA the last few years, you know they're Mustangs. We have Constance Nunes here with us today. Thanks for coming on board.
Hi, thank you.
Why don't you give the audience a little bit of a synopsis, sort of like of what's been going on in your life? A lot has changed since the TV world has changed, and maybe kind of bring us up to speed on what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess most famously, you guys know me from Car Masters, 6 seasons on Netflix. So that has been wonderful. But as you know, I've been building hot rods and mostly Mustangs my whole life. And now that we're kind of wrapped up with the show, I've been focusing more on my own shop these days and getting more Mustangs out on the road. So that's been great. But yeah, I mean, the whole team at the shop, we've just been pushing away on, new builds, new brand relationships, really trying to bring more enthusiasts into the car world. I mean, that's one of our big things is just, getting people inspired to just give things a try, get out there, get that project out of the backyard and just start, So everything we do at Cars by Constance is involving that in some capacity. So this year, we're just really trying to push different avenues that can help us bring more cars to more people.
Yeah, when you're talking about the latest business, I think it's always funny to kind of turn the clock back too, because it always starts somewhere. And what we found in the show oftentimes is it starts in the garage, it starts at home, it starts with a family or a friend or somebody that's there. And I think it's the same in your book too. I think your dad was a very big influence. He was a drag racer, and you weren't foreign to the garage and being the wrench hander.
No. I mean, I pretty much grew up around cars my entire life. I think at the beginning, I saw myself in a different avenue. I definitely, watching my dad race at Palmdale every weekend, I thought I was going to be more behind the wheel. I definitely thought I was going to be a race car driver. And at the time, it wasn't as popular for girls to get into racing. So I kind of deviated into the building side out of, that was the only thing I could do. And that actually turned into a really great passion of mine, and it worked out. And I still haven't really got into the racing side, but who knows, maybe this year.
Yes, so my question was going to hit on that. So breaking barriers in the automotive industry, right? Yeah. So as a female mechanic in a male-dominated industry, what challenges have you faced along the way? So it sounds like wanting to be a race car driver.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone, obviously, that's met me or is seeing me now on this podcast probably wouldn't off the bat think that I build cars for a living. I think that generally my brand speaks a lot to that. What you look like, or if you're a girl or whatever the case, doesn't stop you from going for your passions and your dreams. Even though racing when I was younger was not really a heavily woman-dominated field, I was very lucky that my dad was very supportive. My dad never made me feel like I couldn't do anything I wanted to do. So I had a great support system growing up of people that took me in. I was able to learn how to build cars and learn how to do a lot of things and never felt like I couldn't, right? And I think that's a big thing that's missing for a lot of people is we need more people in the industry saying, hey, you can. You don't have to know everything right out the gate. You don't have to be the best. I think that sometimes that kind of standard hits too of like, if you're not the top of the line right out the gate, then, it's not worth it. But all of us started somewhere. I didn't know how to rebuild a carburetor when I first started. That's okay. I learned how to do that, So I think one of the big things for me is that, being a female in the industry, you really have to kind of push that even further. You could probably attest to this. I don't usually take no for an answer. If I really want to try something or do something, I'm going to make it happen. I make sure to surround myself with people that are positive influences in that way. And I have tough skin. I don't look at myself and think, oh, I'm really good for a girl. I'm a good car builder for a girl. Or I don't introduce myself as, a female car builder. I'm a car builder.
Yeah.
I just, I kind of just blaze right past that. And I find that that's the best approach in my sense, I guess.
Well, and that's what I notice with all the good builders, right? Because everyone starts out small, like we call it, like pushing the broom, right? And there's, people with confidence, and then there's people who are very hesitant. I feel like the people who are real confident, and they're not afraid to make mistakes.
Right?
Yeah.
You learn from those mistakes. And that's what I've seen is like a big trend with everything. I mean, you started out that way. I started out that way.
We never took no either.
Yeah. It was always like, no, we could figure that out.
And if you told me no, I worked that much harder to try to make it happen. And if I hit another wall, I just had to figure out how to climb that wall more. I think that's, if you're passionate in this field, you're going to find that that's the common binding part about the automotive enthusiast that is successful is you're just a person who's got an idea and you're going to find a way to get it done. And that might take a dozen attempts.
Yeah.
Well, and you don't have to, I guess, be like a cookie cutter version of what it is to be in the car industry. I mean, I think I'm a very non-cookie cutter version. I drive a pink Mustang, I have my nails done. I have all my little things about me that make me unique. The builds that I do are unique in my way, and I think that the best thing you can do, especially if you're starting out, is be yourself. Go into it with the passions that you have. Don't conform to what other people think that you should be in the industry, whether that be your aesthetic, the way that you like to build. Maybe it's not even building, you don't have to be a car builder. You can paint, you can design. There's so many other aspects of being in the automotive industry and being an enthusiast that don't have to be turning wrenches. And I think we should talk more about that, that there's so many avenues that are open for people. If you are excited about cars, find that thing that really fits,
Right.
I feel like that's just kind of like the current environment that we're in as a country, right? Is there's people who are, we're going to do this, or people who feel like they're entitled to it, right? So I feel like the people that have the passion and want to learn how to do something and make it happen, it's that confidence, right? That are going to make it happen.
I think also like social media plays a big part, obviously, in the automotive industry today. It's huge, right? And I think that a lot of people trying to start out in this business feel a lot of pressure because they see people doing well where it's, they see an image that seems perfect, but behind the scenes, it's not perfect, right? We know the cars, they get to SEMA, right? And they're beautiful and they're perfect. And it seems like it was so easy. And we see videos where the car just flew together and everything. But behind the scenes, we're stressing out. We're up till 4 a.m. in the shop every day making, and it's not perfect, And I think that if people would kind of take a step back and realize like, it's okay that it's not perfect in that way. You're going to have struggles. It's going to be a bumpy road. Again, you're not going to shoot up to being the best right away. And that's fine. And don't feel like you have to copy what you see someone else's success look like. We are in this constant comparison because of social media. And it's like, you don't have to be. Everybody, literally every person, even my own dad told me, do not paint that car rose gold. When I was painting my car for SEMA, everybody told me not to do it. And I said, you know what? It's me though. That fits my personality. I really like it. If nobody else likes it, that's okay. That car's been with me for 20 years and it's not going anywhere. So I don't really care if somebody else doesn't like it. I'm going to do it for me. And we did it. And it gets more attention, I think, than any other car I've built, and that's cool. And once people saw it, it kind of changed their tune. But it's like, if I would have listened to everybody else, maybe that wouldn't have been the case,
You'd have a white, silver, or black car.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those interesting parts that you bring to the table as a designer and a builder. We actually ran across a car just recently that fell through a previous build of ours. And same thing. It was such a high level build. It has Mario Andretti's engine in it. It was built by Bodie Stroud. It had its own life, yet the owner was like, okay, there's a generational passing. His father had passed, and there was meaning in the car, but at the same time, he came to you to bring out what he wanted in the car. And I think that's something that as a designer and a builder is critical, is that you can instill the confidence in, that builder, that you're going to be able to bring something to fruition that's going to be either reimagining or rebuilding or even taking it to that complete next level, which you can talk about that project that's coming up pretty soon, if you can, because it is next level, and yet this was already a SEMA winning booth feature vehicle that involved, a pretty important celebrity in our build with Mario Andretti. So I think it's a very interesting part that, your diversity in customers, since you've kind of got on your own with Cars by Constance, is your personality. It's not just, here's another car that looks like this type of build.
Yeah, I think also like a lot of the clients that come to my shop, they come because their cars I treat them like they're mine. Every car that's in there, I name them all, like they're my babies too. Like I care a lot about the cars and about the people that own those cars. So I think that kind of differentiates me a little bit from other builders, is that, it's not, and this is a horrendous business model, but it's not just about money for me. Like if it was just about money, I could build really cookie cutter Mustangs and just push out, high volume stuff. And that's fine. Like, we all have to take care of ourselves and put the roof over our head. But for me, it's like, that's not enough for me. I would rather make less and have people's lives change,
Yeah, I think I saw some runny mascara at the recent Barrett-Jackson when you let go of that last car, right?
I didn't realize so many people were going to see that footage. I got so many phone calls after that. I feel like I'm even crying just thinking about it right now. The Boss 429. So that's another one. It was a collaboration restoration with Bodie. And that car has been with me personally for a long time. And the family had decided that, they were ready to part ways with it. So we took it to Barrett-Jackson, and it was really emotional for me. It was emotional for me because I knew, that car had had a whole life with that family, and it was time for its next step. It had had a whole life with me. I had been with that car a very long time and seen it through, all its ups and downs. So it was hard, but I didn't know that I was going to cry. And then I did. And then it was on TV. And then I got phone calls from everybody after saying, were you crying on stage? So it was, I'm sure that footage will get turned into some funny reel at some point.
Yeah. So with that, I had a different question I was going to ask, but I'm asked this one now. But so with your deep passion, obviously, for these cars, and you make them your baby, what would the dream car be to restore?
My dream car was Baby Sang, my 64.5 Mustang. That's rose gold. That was always like the end all be all, which probably sounds a little funny because I've dealt with some amazing cars. The Boss was definitely probably second in line to that one. But yeah, that car was always my dream car. I grew up in an all Chevy family, so it was really, I was the odd one out for wanting anything Ford to start with. But I remember when I was little, the first time I saw a Mustang, I thought it was the coolest car. I thought it had so much history, and it just felt like a true like Americana kind of feel. And then I wanted to be a part of that. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, it has to be a real 64.5. Like it can't be a 65 on paper. Like it's gotta, and I was really adamant about that. And yeah, and it was a journey to find one and get one. And I cried when it came home. And yeah, that was it. That was the end all be all. And honestly, I feel like that car has grown up with me. I've had it, like I said, 20 years, and it's the longest relationship I've ever had with anything, I guess. But yeah, that was the dream. I think if I had to pick a second, it would probably be the Boss. Boss 429 is definitely up there for the kind of the same reasons. To me, when I see that car, it's like a piece of American muscle car history. It's the American muscle car.
And Is there anything on the list that you want to do next?
I have a very interesting, I wouldn't even call it a build at this point, sitting in my garage at home. It's a 69 Mustang-ish. It's a sister car to a car that's already been done.
Okay.
I happened to be very fortunate to get the sister car. And when I say car, it is a shell on a chassis dolly. It's not even a full shell. But I have very elaborate plans with it. I don't know that I want to give too much away on it yet. It's definitely going to be not a restoration. I wouldn't really consider it a resto mod either, though. It's going to be a nod to some Ford history that maybe didn't get to see the light of day.
Okay.
Fun project. I think you showed me some remnants of the shell sitting there, but from what I understand, what it means to you, I'm expecting big things.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I want to do something that is not been done yet. And something that I think is also a little bit out of character for me as well. I like to kind of push what I can do. And I think this project will definitely do that. And it's going to be something that doesn't come necessarily easy to me, which is exciting.
Very cool.
Yeah, as you've had a couple of out of the box, I would say just not Mustang vehicle opportunities to participate in. And I don't know if there's any one that kind of stands out to you as being one that's been like a challenge, one that's you're whether it's designing with the customer or whether it's physically trying to make parts fit together. What would be that project?
I mean, I feel like my clients like to bring me cars that are a problem for some reason. That's just like, I think they know I can figure it out. So I get a lot of problem children in my shop. I think the most challenging project, aside from that 69 I have coming up, and I'm sure this is what you were leading into, is that 32 3-window. So it's not a Mustang, which already I feel like throws up a bunch of red flags for people. But we have a 32 3-window that we're working on that is another build that's not going to be normal in any capacity. The drivetrain is insane. I can't mention too much on it quite yet, but I think that one's going to be interesting. It'll be another one that I feel like people won't expect from my brand because it is very outside of what I would normally do. I think one of the biggest things is a build like that. We see them all the time where they're built to look really pretty or sit on display. And you know me very well. You know that I don't build anything that's not functional. So, once you start getting really crazy into the custom world or even, drivetrains that are really intense, sometimes that takes away from the cars actually being able to be driven. And I hate that because I want people to drive their cars. I want the cars to be on the road. So for me, we can go crazy, but we're going to have to figure out a way where you can actually, if you want to go to the grocery store, you're going to be able to do it. So that project's going to be really interesting because what the client wants out of it, we have to kind of balance this craziness with actual function as well. So that'll be a fun one for sure.
When you're talking about kind of the next few things that you have in line, it's not always about cars and clients. I know you've gone through a lot as far as in kind of your work history, what you've wanted to do with your life and kind of just goals and expectations. I know sometimes you don't really have a master plan. We kind of fumble our ways through it. But I mean, you've kind of been in a lot of places maybe people haven't thought, behind a parts counter or a service advisory desk. You're under the hood, as people have seen through CarMasters. Now you're moving on to being a business owner and a designer. All of those things are all a product of sort of each one leading to the next. What do you foresee as your next kind of opportunity to kind of make your mark? Yes, we're building cars, but Cars by Constance is now a business. It's competing inside this very big realm of other brands. Yeah.
I'm a workaholic, so I think I like to take on a lot of things because it keeps me busy and happy. I think my overall goal with not only the shop, but the brand in general, like I said, is to be able to bring more cars to more people. So whatever capacity that may be, that's what I'm interested. So whether that be building, whether that be doing some charity work that involves those kind of things. Bringing parts to people, we talked about this a lot. I want to really start trying to get into more of the parts side of things this year, because I feel like I am fortunate enough to build a lot of cars where I can see a lot of reproduction parts that need help. And I have a lot of clients that are looking for good reproduction parts, because not everyone's building, a $300,000-$400,000 car. Some people are building a $40,000 car or even a $30,000 car where they just want to take their wife out to ice cream, and they need parts that function properly and look decent too. So I think for me, like, the things I'm doing with my brand right now are all relative to how can I help more people with their cars and what capacities those look like. So I'm kind of fumbling, I guess, through it of, okay, this works, this helps us do this part, and this works, this helps us be able to deliver this part, So yeah, I'm excited to this year really branch into more of that outside of, maybe they can't get a car built by me, but how can I help them in some other way?
So with your shop, how large is your shop? How many employees do you have? And do you have a counter where people buy the parts right now?
No
or is
counter yet. My front office actually has Dirty Shirley, a 66 Mustang that I have chopped in half in the front office. So no counter, but maybe we could turn it into a counter if I don't turn it into a race car first. My team is very small. So I have myself. I have Hunter, who is marketing, but he's also an amazing fabricator and mechanic. Brian, my fabricator, but I lose him to Tennessee half the year. And then Hunter's sister is interning with us, and she's learning to weld right now. So it's just the four of us. It's a pretty small team. But I feel like my team is composed of people that have the same vision. They're all here because they're really passionate about cars the way I am. They're passionate about the people we build cars for. And that's more important to me than anything. You can get a million guys that can turn a wrench or, girls that can fabricate, whatever the case, but they have to be in it for the right reasons. So the team is small, but what we deliver is powerful.
You're also in Southern California. It's not exactly the cheapest place to have big facilities, and you can easily lose the success of a business over having big eyes and wanting to put a big presentation on.
For sure.
And wanting to be lean is smart. And I think that's something that, you've seen a lot of through, I think, the world of watching the television shows and seeing what happens in the other shops that are out there. You can chase fame or you can chase quality. And one of them will get you social media attention. The other one will bring you real customers in the long run.
Yeah, I think, I've worked with a lot of shops in my career, like a lot of shops on every kind of level, the good, the bad, the ugly. So what I see a lot happen is, like you're saying, they want a little notoriety, right? It looks really cool to have 10 hot rods parked outside, but that doesn't actually equate to anything. Now you just look kind of cool, but like, the work isn't getting done. People aren't getting their cars. You're not doing anything of value for the community in that way. It's just, you look like you have a big fancy shop, and that's not important to me.
Yeah, no, that's true. So I've seen that a lot. What would you say your specialty is, or your favorite thing that you do is when you're working on a car? There's fabricators or welders or wrenching or rebuilding.
I'll be completely honest. I'm not a good fabricator in any way. I'm really good at designing the image of what I want. And I go in there and I tack it all in and I hand it off to my guys. And I say, please make that happen. One of my goals this year is to try to get a little better at fabricating. So we'll see how that goes. But engine work is primarily my specialty. I enjoy it the most. It's something that I find really interesting, and I've never lost that interest. I think every time I work on something, there's something new to learn, and that's really exciting to me. I never want to be, and I don't ever think I'll be the best. That's not a concept that ever makes sense to me. I always want to be learning more, and I feel like with engine work, I get to have that. I love designing. I love designing. I love paint, although I don't paint, but I do mix every color that comes out of Cars by Constance. If it's not a factory color, it's a custom mix from me. And I really enjoy that process a lot. So who knows? I mean, I really want to paint Dirty Shirley this year myself just to see if I could do it. But, you know.
So have you painted parts before?
Yeah, parts and everything, but never a full vehicle. But I like to get cars that are my own stuff and kind of test those things just to see. Like I said, I like the challenge. You know, I don't ever want to be held to only being good at one thing. Especially on a small team, you have to kind of learn to do everything. You know, if I can't do every part of the build, that means that the build is on hold if one person's out sick, you know? So for us, pretty much everyone in the shop is multi-skilled, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting too. Like you've really had to expand because it's a small shop, kind of your supplier base, your partners. You know, when we came aboard and start talking about kind of how we can help out with, you know, exhaust manufacturing and building and featuring in the SEMA cars, it started off with, you know, we need some parts. And then when we saw that you were using parts that weren't necessarily things that we would traditionally see, it became, well, what are you trying to do? Yeah. And you guys were able to feedback loop us in, and you were like, well, we're building a straight six. We're not building a V8. We need to be able to fit a high performance header that sounds right and also serves a purpose. So you're also addressing some of the, you know, specific needs of maybe the not general customer. But you're having to bring partners in, and you know that's how we got involved. But like for example, you're out at Formula One this year, you know, and you've got other sponsors that are bringing you out to places to kind of hear what you have to say. Is how important has the partnerships been sort of in your moving forward with the business?
Oh, I think relationships are everything, and I think good relationships where everyone has a common goal is really what it is. I mean, when we started working together, it's like, you guys love cars like I love cars, right? You love the people in this industry, in this community. And that's the kind of people that I want to work with because we all are going for the same goal. So I think, you know, partnering up is a crucial part of being able to expand and being able to bring more enthusiasts into the community.
So with that, car culture and influence. Okay, so you've obviously built a strong presence in the automotive world and on social media. How do you inspire the next generation of enthusiasts?
I guess by just being myself. Like I can't harp on that enough. I think that if you're going to be really in any industry and be successful, you need to be authentic. And I think that everything I do is really authentic to me. I would do this if no one ever saw it. You know, if Instagram went away tomorrow, I feel like there's a lot of people that would crumble under that. Oh, yeah. I would probably find a little relief in it, honestly. But for me, it's like, that doesn't change anything. I'm still going into the shop tomorrow, like whether that, you know, exists or not. So I think that if you're really authentic to the things that you're doing, that translates really well to people, and they want to be a part of that journey with you too. And I'm invested in other people's journey. You know, like I probably talk to more people on Instagram than any other influencer, social media celebrity does. You know, I'm in the comments and DMs. I'm talking to people about their builds, like, because I want to help them. Like, I'm really curious about what they're doing. I'm inspired by some of the things they're doing too. So, yeah, I think just like be authentic to yourself, push your own boundaries, always go for, you know, what you want to do. Don't let anyone give you a no. Yeah, I think being authentic, I think, is the best thing that I do.
So real life versus reality TV.
I tell everyone that asks me something relative to that question, you know, take it with a grain of salt. It's TV, right? I almost feel like there's confusion of the things people think aren't real are actually the things that are very real. And the things that seem more real, maybe, you know, those could be a little extra for TV. I think that, reality TV is interesting. I think you should always, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. I think that there's a lot of commentary that goes along with building cars specifically on TV. And I think we should be nicer to people online. Everyone's just doing the best that they can. I can't really speak to anyone else's experience. I know with mine, on the show that I was on previously, I don't think that there was a big portion of the show that was geared towards me, which is understandable. But so I don't think people got a really good insight to me in real life versus me on the show. They see maybe 5% of what I can do because the show isn't designed to focus on me. So I think, if you're going to base your entire opinion off that, you're pretty much basing your opinion off 5% of me. There's
you're getting the producer's version of what he needs to do. And I think that's always been the part of reality TV is that what is the reality of TV? Well, most TV's there to sell you something, and when the story has to give way to the purpose of the advertising, you lose, I think, some of those elements. And I'm kind of glad that we're in a world today where, the media approach has been kind of rejected by our consumers and our fans. And what they want to hear is really what's going on. They want to know, like you're presenting the story behind the story. And I think that's really true to the automotive community because, for example, every one of the vehicles you've talked about, there's a story behind it. And I think that's the case with just about any of the projects that happen in the automotive industry. There's always the story behind the story. And if you're going to try to cover it in 30 minutes, you're never going to do it in justice. And especially when there's an agenda, when, it's about advertising, well, you're going to hear the advertising pitch and you're not going to see all the love, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the scars that happen behind the scenes. And, there's just never enough time to tell it all, except for now, and I think that's the great part about, whether it's the podcast, whether it's the new shows and stuff that have become opportunities for you to participate in, you're going to be able to tell a story about what you've actually gone through. And the great part is now is it's not a producer telling you that, you've got 2 seconds to do this and 5 minutes to do that. You're going to be able to really kind of show what you want to be heard and really express what you're feeling in a way that, long form is acceptable,
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that, I'm just a mechanic. Someone with a big fancy office with a much higher pay grade makes the decisions on what gets shown, what doesn't get shown, what we're doing, that's not me. And I think people have a really big misconception of that, of oh, well, you could show this. I'm like, I can't. That's not, that's not my place or anything. But fortunately, I think, my social media presence, people get to see a lot more in depth of the things that I actually do day to day when we take cars out to shows, things like that. So there's more opportunity. I'm definitely super grateful for the things that, I was able to do. I mean, I never planned on being on TV. I was just building cars, doing my thing, and it came across the table and it seemed really cool. And I think as any young 20-year-old would think, hey, this is some extra car part money on the side, So I did. And I learned a lot from it and I gained a lot from it. And I think now I'm okay, I'm ready to move on and do other things that can definitely show a lot more of what I have to offer.
So when you go racing, what do you race?
Oh, well, I mean, I've been down a drag strip a handful of times in my much younger years. I do love drag racing, so I think that would probably be where I would want to be. I mean, muscle car for sure. A Mustang. I know that's such a typical answer for me is everything is Mustang. If I say anything else, I feel like people will be like, oh my God, she let us down not saying a Mustang. One other car I would do would be I would drag race a 72 Vega.
Okay. Interesting.
I know. That's a really...
That's probably the Chevy side from your father's influence.
My dad had a 72 Vega race car, and I just think it'd be really cool to do. And it's a cool race car. I mean, honestly, it's kind of a good setup for that style racing. I would love to get into,
How about a trophy truck?
I haven't done a trophy truck yet. I've done rock crawling stuff. I've been in really amazing pre-runners and stuff like that. I haven't done anything on that level, but I would love to do it. I feel like I probably wouldn't be very good at it, but I'd have a great time.
I feel like a lot of racing, though, it's like opportunity, right? So there's a lot of people who race that do quite well that are not good at it.
I will say, I don't know if this is like appropriate to say, I have a lot of balls in the sense of like, I'm not afraid to do it. So if anything, like I'll probably roll a car before being like too held back. So I would totally.
Well, maybe have a trophy truck.
Yeah, let's start in something cheaper, maybe.
I guess someone I can introduce you to, they'll let you drive his.
Yeah, something cheaper. You know, somebody that doesn't mind if I mess it up. But yeah, I would. The thing is, I'm down. Like I'm very like, let's go. I find it really exciting to do those kind of things, even if I'm really bad at them. But yeah, I definitely. I'm not afraid. That's probably a problem in that racing capacity, but
or it helps. One of the two.
You know,
it could help. Okay, so then the question, probably the last question then, dream ride. But I'm going to re-ask this in a different way because it cannot be a Mustang. So if you could only drive one car the rest of your life, any car, any era, what would it be and why? It's a tough one, though.
That's a tough one because you got to think you're driving it for. See, I'm so like, I think of it too realistically where I'm like, okay, I'm driving it every day. What's the gas mileage? What's the comfort level? Like, what is, you know?
We're like, looking at each other right now.
Go fast, but like, I also like need to get around town like decent.
So we're literally having this question.
This is a everyday concern.
I have a lot of different cars, old and new, but what is that daily driver? And there's like, I'm like not that excited. I was like, I was on Facebook and hey, look at Lisa Tesla. I know, don't hate me on it. But for $199 a month, I plug it in. It's just like using a microwave to cook food, right?
No,
like
the convenience. I get it.
Convenience. It's new. It's nice. It's techie. But
Oof.
We're all like in the struggle of what is that daily driver? There's a lot of stuff at $100,000 and above.
Yeah, it's a really difficult question. I don't even know if I can answer it. It's one of those things where it's like, it's the dilemma everybody faces today because we can always look backwards. And that's the funny thing I think about this industry is we can look back on those meaningful cars because it was your dad's, because it was something you saw. But if
or the era, like we grew up in the best era where you just bought a Honda Civic and it was basic, you could mod the crap out of it, or a Mustang or an F-150 truck or a Chevy. Everything, like a Chevy was lowered, a Ford was a pre-runner, a Civic was your four-cylinder little HKS drag race thing, or you're a Volkswagen guy, right? Like now it's like...
Everything's a compact SUV, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, since I can't pick a Mustang, because I would say baby Mustang right out the gate, because I'm totally happy to drive that car the rest of my life. So if I couldn't pick that, if I'm going for the thing that like hits most of the marks for everything that I need to do in my life, the only thing that's kind of failing with it is it's not like fast, which is kind of a bummer for me because I like to go fast. I have an 89 F250 and I would probably pick that because I can tow with it. It has AC. It has radio. It does get good gas mileage when I didn't have it lifted. Now that it's lifted on 37s, it's not getting good gas mileage, but I could change that. It's a long bed, so I can fit everything I need. My dogs go back there. I can go to drive-in movies. I mean, like functionality-wise, it hits almost everything except for the go fast, but I could mod and change that if I wanted to.
So what engine's in that truck?
It's a 460. Yeah.
Those are cool trucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny how
it's
many people...
It's got a cool look, farm truck look. Like, and like I said, if I wanted to, I could do a lot with it or not do a lot with it and have it be like just...
Well, it's kind of nostalgia cool. The whole patina thing's sort of in, so you don't really have to like restore it. Yeah. It's kind of got its own character because of the story it tells, from the dents, the scratches, the uses. I mean, and I think that's the dilemma, you know.
But I think that's like that generation. I mean, my favorite's like the 93 to 96, right? But it gives you everything modern enough. And like Jason would say, it doesn't have any of the nannies.
No. Yeah.
Right? So
traction control.
Yeah, there's nothing annoying to have to deal with. It has all the things, like I said, AC,
doesn't track
radio,
you.
all
It
that.
doesn't-
Yeah, but it's not like too much
Doesn't have a key fob.
like electrical nonsense that I have to deal with. It's just enough. And it's old enough to be cool, but new enough to function.
Yeah.
And like I said, you could mod it to do these other things if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that.
So is that a crew cab long bed?
Single.
Standard cab long bed.
True or try?
That was my first Ford. It was a 93 standard cab long bed.
Yeah.
Well, if you were buying a truck back then for utility, you were getting a long bed. The whole crew cab thing, you know, and I hate to say it, it's like you look at a Raptor today, it's like, why does it have a seat for four? I'm going to drive it myself. Maybe the dog gets in the back, you know. I might have a passenger, but I want bed space.
But we talk about that ultimate overland truck would be like that brand new diesel standard cab long bed with a shell. And it just, all your crap's in there.
I love the long bed. When I first got it, so many people were like, oh, you got a long bed? I'm like, just wait, give it a few months. When you call me for everything, because I can fit everything. Like I said, I put a mattress back there, go to the drive-in movie. It's great. Like my dogs love it. Like everyone calls me to move things, tow things. Like it's perfect.
Yeah, we used to use, my friend at the time when we went to Glamis, he had that the same year, I think it was an 89 or an 88, 460 automatic white standard cab long bed. And they towed their whole trailer with the buggy in it and everything.
Yeah.
I think it got 6 miles to the gallon.
When gas was $1 a gallon, it didn't matter.
Oh, mine used to be pretty good. I'm telling you, before I did the lift and the tires, it was actually pretty nice. And now it's like, but that's fine because I like the looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, I think any car person gets over fuel economy pretty quickly. That's usually one of those barriers that we quantify because there's numbers and we're like good, bad, you know, middle, whatever.
You just sacrifice somewhere else.
But then you start it, you hear the V8, you feel the rumble, you get the utility, all that stuff just fades away. And it's like, this is just a cool ride.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what I think drives this culture now is that, yeah, we've got great cars if you want to let it drive for you. Charge your phone, you know, tell you what's happening in traffic up the way, adjust the traction control because it might be icy or wet. But it kind of detracts from like, I want to get the back end a little loose. And
Totally.
I want to be able to, you know, feel what the road feels like when it transitions and, you know, that visceral kind of component. So I don't know. It's always a tough decision. We ask everybody all the time the same question, and it's a hard one to come up and answer with. But 80s Ford vehicles are high on the list.
Yeah. Like I said, that's only because I couldn't pick Baby Sting, though. I just want to clarify for everyone watching this. I 100%
That's
would
when I
have picked.
rephrased my question.
Yeah.
Because we're not allowing the easy way out there. Yeah, no, those OBS trucks. Like,
I'm so curious about everyone else's ansers now.
Well, you're going to have to watch the show. 'Cause,
There you go.
Well, I think speaking of watching the show, it was a pleasure to have you out here. And we want to let everybody know where to find out more information about where to follow what's going on with Cars by Constance, of course, social medias, and let them know where to follow.
Yeah, so best is obviously Instagram at Constance_Nunes. And then YouTube coming out soon is Cars by Constance. And then the website is just carsbyconstance.com. Try to keep it super easy to remember.
Makes it simple. So go ahead and check out all of our socials. And of course, you can find me at Rich Waitas at Oxidizer on Instagram.
and I'm Jerry Zaiden at Jerry Zaiden. And for this show on YouTube, please check out MagnaFlow TV, and everywhere else is at MagnaFlow. This has been the MF Show.